Under a heavy sky swollen with clouds, Ranger Ethan Cole clocked in for his midnight shift at Black Hollow National Park. The forest was silent, eerily so, as though the air itself held its breath. The radio static hissed, a constant reminder that beyond the visitor center walls, darkness was alive. He adjusted his hat, unaware he'd just stepped into a night that would warp reality itself. The park was enormous, over 200,000 acres of dense pines and hidden lakes. Ethan's task was simple: patrol the back trail known as Ridgeway Loop, the same loop where two hikers vanished 3 winters ago. A metallic smell filled the air even before he left the safety of the truck. The wind stirred softly, whispering his name, or maybe something that sounded like it. He began his patrol with the flashlight cutting narrow tunnels of light through the mist. The forest shifted in small, deliberate movements, branches groaning, leaves crunching under unseen feet. His boots echoed patterns that didn't match his pace, like someone walking a step behind. He turned, but the path behind him was empty, swallowed whole by the fog. The radio crackled once, twice, then fell silent. He tried the frequency again, but only static answered. He remembered the stories the senior rangers told, the ones about echoes of people long gone still trapped in those frequencies. Laughing it off, he called out a half-hearted "Anyone there?" into the void. The reply came, not in words, but in a faint crying sound hidden beneath the static. It was delicate, like a child sobbing through a pillow. The sound cut deep into the night, filling every space around him. Ethan froze, unsure whether to answer or run. He switched off the radio, hoping silence would calm his nerves. Then, from somewhere far down the trail, his own voice called back, repeating the same question he'd just asked: "Anyone there?" Panic rippled through his chest as he realized it was perfect, too perfect, an exact replica of his tone. The trail bent sharply to the left, revealing the riverbank glinting with moonlight. He had always found comfort near the river's steady hum, but tonight the current looked wrong. The water wasn't flowing downstream, it was flowing backward, pulling leaves and sticks into the woods. He blinked hard, but the motion never changed. Ethan recorded it on his phone, trying to document the impossible. But when he replayed the footage, the river appeared perfectly normal, calm, and undisturbed. His reflection in the screen, however, smiled a fraction of a second too late. Then the phone turned off by itself. Ahead, the fog thickened until it felt alive, pressing, watching, almost breathing beside him. He picked up the pace but lost all sense of direction. The trail markers were gone, every signpost erased as if the forest never wanted them there. Only a faint humming sound guided him deeper in. A flickering campfire shimmered through the trees. Relieved, Ethan hurried toward the glow, expecting fellow rangers. But around the clearing, there was no one, just a small fire burning in a perfectly circular pit, untouched by wind. Above it hung an old ranger jacket identical to his own. He touched the jacket, feeling damp fabric still warm from a body that wasn't there. The name tag shimmered faintly in the firelight: E. Cole. His own name. A crawling numbness filled his fingers as he dropped it and stumbled back. The forest exhaled a sigh that rattled every bone in his chest. Suddenly, all sound vanished. Even the fire froze mid-flicker, its flames still but glowing. The air turned heavy, forcing him to inhale shallow breaths. He checked his watch, midnight exactly, though it had been midnight an hour ago. Time, like the river, had turned against nature. The walk back to his truck felt endless, the trail coiling into itself like a looping film reel. No matter how far he walked, the same fallen log kept reappearing by his boots. He marked it with chalk once, twice, and still, it reappeared ahead of him each time. He was trapped inside a circle that shouldn't exist. Ethan finally shouted into the emptiness, voice hoarse from fear. He swore he heard laughter, his own laughter, echoing from the trees, taunting him from all directions. Shadows started to bend as if bowing in mockery, their angles wrong against the thin moonlight. He felt unseen eyes following each step. He reached a wooden rest cabin near the edge of the loop, one that looked ancient and half-collapsed. Inside, maps hung torn and yellowed, depicting trails that had never existed. One map in particular marked a red X exactly where he was standing. Beneath it, a penciled note read, "Don't let it find you again." He bolted the cabin door and tried the ancient radio on the wall. Static again, but layered with whispers, hundreds of them, chanting phrases he couldn't decipher. The light bulb above flickered erratically until it went out completely. In the brief blackout, something brushed past him, close enough to move the air. When the light blinked back, his shadow stood beside him, not behind. It mimicked his movement half a second late, delayed yet aligned perfectly. Terrified, he whispered, "Stop," but the shadow kept breathing, watched him, and smiled. He began to realize the forest was no longer outside the cabin, it was inside him. Footsteps clattered on the cabin roof, slow, deliberate, human. Dust fell from the ceiling boards in soft rhythms. He aimed his flashlight upward, but the sound stopped instantly. Silence followed, stretched so thin he could hear his pulse pressing behind his eyes. A sudden knock shattered the silence, 3 sharp taps on the door. He called out yet again, his shaking hand still gripping the beam of light. The door handle turned by itself, then stopped halfway. "Ranger Cole," a voice asked softly, the same voice that had been crying through the radio earlier. He stepped closer, forcing down every instinct to run. Through the narrow curtain slit, he saw a woman standing in the rain, her park uniform soaked, eyes cloudy. She looked almost real, almost alive. But her movements looped, like a broken video repeating a 10-second clip. He opened the door anyway. The night outside was bone still, empty. No woman, no rain, not even footsteps fading away. But his flashlight illuminated fresh prints leading into the cabin from nowhere, bare footprints smeared with mud and pine needles. At that moment, every device he carried began to malfunction, compass spinning, phone buzzing without signal, body cam flickering like an old VHS. Across its static screen, a familiar face appeared, his own. The recorded version of him whispered, "It's already done." Fear turned into fury as he tore off the body cam and flung it into the darkness. It landed with a metallic thud, followed by a second thud, like something catching it midair. Then an identical body cam rolled toward his feet, still filming, showing him from a few feet away, though no camera was there. Unable to think, he bolted from the cabin and followed the wrong-flowing river. The fog began to thin, revealing shapes of faceless figures watching from the tree line. Their heads tilted in unison, tracking his every step. None of them moved closer, until the moment he stopped running. When he turned around, the path behind him folded inward, like a sheet of paper creasing down the middle. Darkness poured from that fold, thick as ink, absorbing the trail markers and sound alike. He saw his reflection in the ink, but it didn't mimic him, it waved. He stumbled blindly toward the ranger station lights flickering in the distance. The sight filled him with hope until he realized they weren't on the ground, they were hovering high among the trees, suspended like lanterns guiding ghosts. The sound of his truck engine roared faintly from nowhere nearby. Following the mechanical hum, he emerged at the visitor center, but something was disastrously wrong. His truck sat there, door open, keys in ignition, engine idling. Inside the driver's seat was him, another Ethan, calmly adjusting the radio volume. The duplicate turned, met his gaze, and smiled knowingly. The second Ethan spoke without moving his lips, had to complete the loop. The headlights flickered, washing the trees in violent flashes. Each blink erased small details, the dirt, the road, the stars. The real Ethan felt the world unraveling thread by thread around him. He screamed, lunging at the truck, but the moment his hands touched the hood, the world inverted, road above, sky below. Gravity reversed long enough for him to crash through his own shadow. Everything went white, then black. Then nothing. Ethan awoke to dawn's gray light slicing through the window pane of the visitor center. His logbook rested in front of him, untouched. The night shift sheet read, "Completed." Confused and trembling, he checked his watch, it was still midnight. Rushing outside, he saw the forest unthreatening, calm, brimming with bird calls. But the mud prints from last night still lined the path to the cabin. In the distance, something flickered, a shadow moving exactly how he had walked hours earlier. It was stuck, repeating each of his steps. Heart pounding, he called headquarters to report strange activity. The dispatcher paused before replying, "Ranger Ethan Cole. But you were reported missing last night." The words froze him where he stood. His logbook, still in hand, bore a date 4 years older than today's. He stared at the horizon where fog began to rise again, thicker than before. Somewhere out there, his voice called faintly in the distance, asking the same question again, "Anyone there?" A chilling realization set in, he was both the voice and the echo now. On the edge of the clearing, the lost jacket still hung where he dropped it. The name tag shimmered faintly, shifting from E. Cole to blank cloth. As the wind stirred, everything around him stilled, time pausing for one impossible heartbeat. The silence whispered one final warning: stay on the loop. Some say the Ridgeway Loop resets itself each time someone answers the radio. The Park Service denies this, calling it folklore. But rangers still guard that forest differently now, never walking alone when the clock strikes midnight. And sometimes, through the static, a familiar voice asks again, anyone there?